Hello, let me first introduce my audience. I have no idea to this day what those two Italian ladies were singing about. Truth is, I don't want to know. Some things are better left unsaid. I'd like to think they were singing about something so beautiful it can't be expressed in words. It makes your heart ache because of it. I tell you, those voices soared higher and further than anybody in a great place dares to dream. It was like some beautiful bird flapped into our drab little cage and made those walls dissolve away. And for the briefest of moments, every last man felt free. That was from Shawshank Redemption by Stephen King. Shortly after my birth, my dad was diagnosed with lymphoma and went through surgery and chemotherapy. He went through remission only to have a more advanced form of lymphoma come back again. Again, through chemotherapy, bone marrow transplants, and lots of perseverance, he went into remission once again. For the majority of my life, my dad was cancer-free. He could have easily felt imprisoned by this horrible disease, and the family could have felt stuck in a perpetually gray place. Instead, our lives were full of good food, conversation, and constant competition at the basketball court. He lived life full, never allowing any opportunity to get away. He lived life as though he was on a mission. He had a big personality and impacted many people. Looking back, the cancer must have always been on the back of his mind, but he never showed it. At the age of 20, I learned my father had an advanced form of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. A year later, the summer of my 21st birthday, my father, Wally, passed away. I'm inspired by my dad every day. It's strange to find inspiration in mortality. Everybody has lost somebody close or will lose somebody in the future. I'm not suggesting to find inspiration in mourning. The death of a relative or friend is horrible and devastating. Death changes us. It changed me. I climbed Mount Rainier with a picture of my father in my pocket. Every time I wanted to stop during that climb, or any time I've ever raced, I think about my dad, and I push myself a little bit further. So many amazing people have died young, taken by disease or tragedy. We don't get a chance to see our roadmap. We just have to drive and see where we end up at the end of the day. Taking a chance, jumping on a path, can be unpredictable. The important thing to remember is the journey and the people, not the car itself. A year ago, I sat in an office in downtown Seattle, working for a company that processed international tax recovery forms. I didn't like my job. I liked the people I worked for. I liked the paycheck. But after 6 years, I decided to walk away. I walked away to go to community college to learn to make wine. Why not? As my wife has said many times, the worst thing that could happen is we move in with your mother. Can we really look in the mirror today and say we're living life to the fullest? And by the fullest, I'm not talking about money or being the greatest at something. I'm talking about life. And would you live life differently if you had a view of that roadmap? I know I'm working on my path, trying not to get in my own way, trying not to hold myself back, trying to soar higher than I imagined. Through my dad's actions before his death, I learned a lot about life. And maybe you need to die a little to live a lot. Find inspiration in the ones that have left too early. We owe it to them to live life to the fullest. to let our voices travel beyond that gray place that we dare to dream. I'm going to end with a quote from one of my father's favorite books, Tuesdays with Morrie. So many people walk around with a meaningless life. They seem half asleep, even when they're busy doing things they think are important. This is because they're chasing the wrong things. The way you get meaning into your life is to devote yourself to loving others, devote yourself to your community around you, devote yourself to creating something that gives you purpose and meaning. And lastly, just be inspired. The people that have left us deserve that. Let me introduce my audience for one last time, and thank you.